Good evening, people. Good evening. Good evening again. Good evening. This is Spirit Journey. How you all doing? Today's Monday, March 27th, 2023, and it's after 10 p.m. Yeah, I want to talk about a few things. Yeah, I had an interesting day. I did get up early and I was able to do my walk and came back. Yeah, I needed those few days resting at home before going back out there. Just wanted to take it easy. I felt okay. And I was determined to, when you got chores in the house to do, yeah, I had to clean the floor. Having a clean floor, you know, cleanliness next to godliness. I love having a clean floor. Yes, it's great having a clean floor. I mean, it really it just sets as a great foundation to live upon. Yeah, I needed to vacuum and then mop my floor. I have a steam mopper, and it works great. Yeah, so I was procrastinating. Then I said, I'm going to do this. So uh, I came back from my walk with my dogs, from the park. Um, Set up everything. I almost forgot. I got my water first. Yeah. Um, I need to stay hydrated. So, I do my water, take my water before I go for my walk. Take like almost a liter of water. And then when I came back from the walk, I said, let me set up my living room. I repositioned my easy chair, got my water, drank most of it, and then I did a meditation for an hour and a half. Then I got prepared for prepare my dog's meals, and then my meal, and then I got the floor done. And I'm so proud of myself. Why I mention these things? Sometimes you know you're supposed to do something, and you just kind of just sit on it. Well, sometimes the little things really make something feel special. So, um, after that, I got other things, responsibilities done. And then finally, I fell asleep, took a little nap. And then I started watching this video. And I really want to minimize what I watch, because I see now that certain things could trigger me. When I say trigger, I mean pull you down spiritually, make you feel down, depressed, anxious, and all that. Um, and that's what a lot of the stuff out there, at least if you're attracted to that, that's what you're going to gravitate towards. So I see that I have to actively modify my behavior, what I watch. So either way, I will be talking about this incident. I have to be very careful how I word certain things because YouTube will could do certain things, uh, block certain videos, pull down certain videos, and then give me another timeout like before. So there was what I'm going to talk about, that I'm going to tie in two different things. Um, the incident that happened, I believe it happened today in Memphis, Tennessee. That's in the U.S. Those of you who are watching from overseas. Um, and then the video about human consciousness. And I want to tie these two in together. And I didn't know I was going to start it, do this video like this, but as I completed watching the video on consciousness, um, I could see what could have been happening with the incident that happened in Tennessee, Memphis, Tennessee, and what happened. Um, Wow. Now, initially, when I saw the report, there were different things that stood out to me. Um, I watched. Well, what happened? No, first, what happened? There was an elementary school. Um, it's part of a church, a Christian church, and they have the school attached to the church. It looked like a big facility. It looked really nice. And in short, what happened? How the news initially gave the report that a female um, used firearms to shoot her way in. Oh, excuse me, I'm not supposed to say that word. Used firearm to enter the premises, and in the end, this person um, took the life of three children, um, age 9. One of them was actually going on 9. Was to become 9, and the others were 9, and three adults, two 61 years of age and one 60 years of age. And I thought that was like, wow. I said to myself initially, this sounds very, well, again, condolences. Let me give my condolences. Condolences to the family and friends of those victims out there. Horrible. But my mind has been, I listen to the news in different ways now. I'm learning about certain metaphysical things that are happening out there. Um, I don't just take the news as just how they present it. And what I mean, like, sometimes things that are being said that certain probabilities, certain things just don't make sense, or sometimes there's symbols. Uh, like this one YouTuber would say, he notices, um, how do you call it now? Um, clues, codes, colors, confirmation of time, and conclusions. You can look at an event, how it's presented to you in the media, and initially you might get all emotional, cry, all these things, how we're programmed. You're going to hear that word a lot, program. Different program responses. And I've been listening to this YouTuber for about a year now. And so now when I hear certain events, it's like now you're becoming more objective in your listening. You're not using your emotions to rule you. And I'm not trying to be insensitive, but it's an awareness, and that's also where this consciousness thing comes in. Again, I'm going to uh, move from the incident with what happened in Memphis, Tennessee, the person who took the lives of 6 people at this school, Christian school, and then link to the video that I just finished watching, which I thought was phenomenal. So it's going to be in layers when I'm going to initially discuss with the incident in Memphis, Tennessee. So, so initially, I'm hearing this report from the newscasters over on YouTube. YouTube videos. And so that was the initial report that a female did X, Y, and Z at the school. There were 6 fatalities, 3 kids, 3 adults, and the ages. Yeah, there seems to be like a metaphysical thing happening. So you're going to start seeing um, numbers, repeating numbers. Sometimes the colors, what the way for today, with my initial hearing of the news, they're numbers that are repeating. The number 6, the adults, all 60. Two of them are 61, and one was 60. So you can think of 666. Okay, three groupings of 6 there, and then the children, ages 9, but a 9 is a reverse 6. And I said, what is the likelihood? What is the likelihood of a random event, a random person entering this facility, and the ages of the people? Um, so there's 6 groups of 6s, and 6 is man's number, as in the New Testament about the mark of the beast. And what happened was definitely a beastly uh, event. Again, my condolences to those individuals. And then I started thinking, because they stressed it as that a woman, and the woman was 28 years of age, and they had various weaponry to enter that facility. They claim that they had a manifesto and a plan of action how they were going to fulfill their wicked deeds. Excuse me. And I said to myself, this is something, in my opinion, this is how I was listening. I said, why? I don't believe this. I don't believe that a woman would go into that type of facility and with that type of tenacity and planning and with the type of weaponry. Uh-uh. And you know what? I was correct. Because what was the reality? See, they want to try to, in my opinion, mess with your paradigm thinking, mess with your mind, and trying to, shake you up. Because I've never heard of this type of behavior. Yes, you have women who do bad things, okay? But the type of event was not something that I felt. It was just questionable. But it turns out that what really happened, they don't really want to tell you, but they eventually had to share the truth to the matter, that it was not a woman, but a man that is a transgender. That is the reality of the matter. And they know damn well that it's not a woman, but a man who is transgendered. And so I wonder whether in future accounts of the story will it indicate when the person went through their transgenderism. That would be interesting. And they did say that the person used to go to that school. Now, this is a grown adult, a 28-year-old man who dresses as a woman. Um, and they are no longer alive. I'm not sure whether it was self-inflicted, the wound, or by law enforcement. So what's going to be the agenda with this now? What is this? Are they going to mention is it to put a new awareness on the mental health of people of that community, or what? Um, you got to be careful with the news. I mean, when you say someone is a particular thing and they're not, and you're pushing that agenda, but then again, you eventually had to admit, okay, this was a transgender person. That's what should have been out there. But see, they want to um, not put a negative light on that demographic. See, they're trying to protect that demographic because now they are a protected so-called minority group with rights. Well, when you take somebody's life and you plan to take the life of little children, you don't have that right anymore about protecting your feelings, okay? And trying to put that blame on a woman, on a biological woman. Uh, I don't like that. I don't like that. But I think it's designed to just try to mess with your minds, introducing a new concept. And it'll be interesting how it's going to play out. Again, my condolences to those poor victims of that uh, emotionally um, troubled person. Yeah, the troubled mind. That is a severe, in my opinion, again, I'm not a psychologist, psychiatrist, or any mental health provider, but it's just my opinion and feelings about this type of thing. When somebody when somebody is confused about their identity to the extent that they, you know, um, mutilate their bodies or put on clothes of another gender, and to intentionally, deceive others, that's a problem. And I feel that it's something that they're denying in themselves, and they want people to agree with them. It's a real problem, in my opinion. And I hope people who want to change their gender get the help that they need. And I think a lot of the mental health field are flocking people to cater to those needs. What do I mean by that? Yeah, I've seen a mental health provider before, um, and I started noticing the different types of people who are in the practice of mental health. And a lot of the people, it seems like, at least in New York City where I live, seem to have the same problem, but they cover it up and they try to um, push they've gotten the power now to change. There's a DSM-3, back in the day. Now I think it might be up to DSM-6 or something like that. Anyone who knows, in DSM, it's a book of that categorizes the different types of mental health issues. And they have over time, yeah, like initially it was considered some type of mental illness, but now you have people with that type of mental illness who dominate the field and were able to reverse the categorization that certain things are not no longer considered mental illness. And they had the power to change that book. And that is just an alternative, okay, and no longer an illness. Okay, they have that power now. They've changed the book. And so now they want to, in my opinion, to change others, to make it acceptable, certain behavior to be acceptable, and they're looking for to recruit people into certain behaviors, certain lifestyles. Misery loves company. That's my opinion. But what does this have to do with the second video that I saw today regarding consciousness? So that's what I'm going to talk about right now and try to link up the incident in Tennessee and things in general, what's happening in the world today, especially in America where I live, all this chaos. I live in New York City, born and raised here in New York City. And chaos. People seem to be out of their minds here in New York City. The um, the street drugs is rampant. More physical violence is happening in New York City. Chaos. And so, with that in mind, with this video, not this second video that I saw, that I just completed watching, and now I'm doing this video now, about consciousness. The name of the speaker that I saw on YouTube, his name is Cornelius Christopher. Uh, he sounded like a British fellow. Yeah, he was from Britain. And he's a man, he looked about in his 40s. And he wrote a book called 1O, like the number one, I'm sorry, ONE, and then it had the little, like a bullet sign after that. So it's almost like the word 1O. And he said it's now on Amazon. Again, his name is Cornelius Christopher. And he has a book called 1O. And he gave his testimony. And I just thought it was interesting. I kind of heard talk something like this before, okay? But just how he explained it and maybe my receptivity, I started really thinking. I mean, I'm not into new agey type talk, but part of me is, some essence of it I do gravitate to. And again, it's no offense to anybody who is a new ager. But certain concepts, I mean, sometimes you hear certain things and it just sounds like talk. That's what I'm getting at. No one wants to just hear talk. But I started thinking when this man spoke. He first gave his testimony, and the brief testimony of his was that at the age of 7, he had witnessed a horrific event that happened to his mother. She was violated. That's all I'd say the word. And I think that same person that violated the mother did the same to you know, him as a child of 7 years of age for a long time, and it fractured him horribly. But he's speaking, as a man. He's like in his 40s now. Um, and he talked about that he had gotten a breakthrough. And that's what I want to focus on. It was an amazing interview that I saw on YouTube. Um, he, all his life, all his adult life, from the time of his childhood, from 7 years of age till his adulthood, um, he always felt like an outsider. He was depressed. He was suicidal, everything. But he did eventually find a woman that he fell in love with, that loved him, and they married. And but he still wasn't happy inside, and he shared that he was planning to end his life, but he had a supernatural intervention that I thought was interesting. And what happened, like he was planning how he would demise himself, but he's lying down in bed. His wife had to go out to get something, and he stayed in bed. And as he was contemplating what he wanted to do, this awakening happens to him. This how do you word? Like he got this. He called it a Kundalini awakening. And initially, like he said that from the base of his spine, this surging pain hit him, and it traveled up his spine. And he said the pain was so excruciating. And then when it reached all the way to, I think, his head, like he felt like something was ripping open his body, like as if his body was split open. And then he noticed from the corner, I think he said the corner of his eye, he saw what he said like a blue dot, a blue dot, and this dot was coming towards him, and it's something like he said like this circle, also I think from his other peripheral, and I think they united that the blue dot was inside now the white ring. Yeah, it was like a circle, like a ring, a white ring. And inside the white ring now had the blue circle. And it came towards him. And then I think it entered his, what they call the third eye. And that's when he had this awareness that, like he was like as if like he was now the object of his life, and that he was like an observer of what was going on in his whole life, being a traumatized child, and that he saw a vision of himself um, actually doing what he was setting out to do against himself. But when he saw in the vision that it would destroy his wife's, you know, life by him doing that to himself, that he realized, hey, like it was another option, that he saw what the outcome would have been against his wife, but then that there was another alternative about his life, and that he actually did have a choice. See, prior to that awakening, he never felt he had a choice in his life, and he just experienced life, but not having the fullness of life. And so he came to terms with it, that he didn't have to be that way, because now he's like thinking himself more objectively, like being the observer over his being rather than the experiencer, of his life. He was able to separate the two, his emotions. And he realized that, well, he eventually came out of that state of the Kundalini awakening. And he came to like an awareness, like the first thing that happened after he came out of that, uh, that surging pain and awareness. Like he mentioned that he had a fear of spiders, and then a spider appears, but he doesn't react against it. And he started to see himself that he was the spider. I know it sounds very bizarre, people, but I think I understood him, what he was getting at. That he no longer was that the observer of the spider that he feared, but that he was that spider. And then he had these little, he had a pet cat, and he had picked up one of his cats, but the cat, he said, felt different to him. And he realized, in his mind, that he was a part of everything. He was not, like the physical world was not separate from him, but that he was part of everything. And that the what he called the mind chatter, like he calls it like a program. Yeah, I understood that when he said about program. Like we're taught in life who we are by our parents or school or television. Like you're just a farmer, or you're just a woman, or or you're just a child, and there's expectations of those labels, regardless what that label is, or whether you're a lawyer, or a doctor, or a school teacher, whatever, or you're a tree, you're a bunny rabbit, you're whatever. There are expectations and labels, of expectation upon those labels that you give yourself. Or you hear this negative chatter about yourself. Oh, you're not a good person. Oh, you're not intelligent. Everybody's better than me. The scenario. And I understood what he was getting at. I understood. Yeah, we're programmed to think certain ways, and I definitely had a program in my life. Yeah, I know it. Oh, I know that. Yeah, they're programs that are imposed upon us, and then we act upon those programs. There are a lot of fear programs, and all my life, I was extremely fearful. Yeah, um, especially a lot of young women. Sometimes. Uh, yeah, it happens to a lot of women, a lot of females when they're little children. Things happen to many times. Things happen to us. I'm trying to be very tactful. Okay, when I want to say, um, you know what I'm getting at. And it also happened to males, also little boys. Or let's say you have a school teacher that uh, hit you, say bad things to you, or you're no good, you're not going to come about to anything that's good, things like that. That negative talk. Oh yeah, it's not just black people that this happens to. It's everybody. It is everybody. And the speaker was saying this again. His name is Cornelius Christopher, and he has this book on Amazon. And he said that when through the process of that kundalini, what he calls a kundalini experience, it, it, it removed that negative chatter from his life. And to such a degree that he lives in the now, while before he always lived in the past or the future worries, what if, all that. But now he no longer lives in the past and thinking about what happened. Not that he's denying that something happened. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about denial. But he sees what happened to him. He said that he appreciates the journey because his life was a journey to arrival of what he is now. He is a man of now. And that him living in the present has filled him with joy, happiness, peace, and self-love. Self-love, he said, is the key to love yourself. That in all your experience in life, the first thing you have to do in life is to accept who you are to yourself. You are you. You are to embrace and be good to you. That's what he kept on repeating. Do good things to you. Because you have all this negative programming, and it is a program. It's designed to make you feel inadequate and self-destructive, right? And so, since he no longer is in living in the past, and that Kundalini thing experience burned away his past trauma. That it's like an energy thing, and a negative energy that's stored in your body. Traumas are negative energies that get stored in certain locations in your body. And for him, it was like in his, I think he said his spleen. And he does these talks and seminars, I gather. And he delivers people. He claims that he delivers people from these traumas once the person that is being spoken to, realizes certain events in their lives, and to pinpoint where that stored negative energy is, they're able to release it. And I thought that was amazing. And I've heard concepts of negative energy being stored in your body, especially when you have traumas or childhood traumas or even adult traumas that get stuck in there, and they control you, and they leech off of your life, and they put negative, it's like a negative loop in your head over and over and over again. And I understood where he was coming from. I understood. And I just liked his approach. He said, he's not living in the past. A lot of things I do is it's like, oh well, I better not do this because such and such happened to me at this particular time of my life, or I better not do this in the future because you know what I'm saying. That so you get stuck, and you're not living in happiness or joy. And he said that your true self, that people need to learn what their true self is. And he said that your true self is love. I know I've heard that talk before. Oh, love, love, But when he spoke those words, I was able to receive it. I understood where he was coming from. And in many of my videos in the past, I've said, you have to learn to love yourself and accept yourself. See, that's how they control us, by having you despise yourself, hate yourself, And what happens when people despise themselves or hate themselves? Many times they hurt other people. Hurting people often hurt others. Hurting people often hurt others. And in fact, interesting that I say that. When I was doing my walk today in Central Park with my dogs, I bumped into this woman. She used to walk with another person, but not this person. Their work schedule changed, and so they're no longer partnered with her. But and I was surprised that she would ask me the question she asked, and I realized I said, "What a sneaky question to ask." And again, it sound on the surface it was sound innocent. Now this person now walks by themselves, and then and we're walking in opposite directions. I was walking north, she was walking south, and I said hello to her, and she says, "Yeah, I gotta ask you a question." So I said, "Okay, sure, go ahead." She says, "Do you walk in the park because of your dogs, or you walk for yourself?" So I said, "Well, I do have my dogs, and I do want to bring them to the park to walk." Said, "Oh, well, some people, uh, would you have walked if you didn't have your dogs?" And it's like, I'm saying to myself, that's a weird question to ask someone, and especially someone that you don't really know. What is it to her why I'm in the park early in the morning with my dogs? And I realized that I sensed that she was hurting. See, hurting people like to hurt other people, but some people are sneaky about how they hurt. And when sometimes people want to validate themselves through hurting others. And so I picked up that she walking alone now, and I'm walking with my dogs in their stroller. And I gather she doesn't like that. So she wants to validate herself that, well, I'm here in the park, and I may not have my friend with me anymore, but I walk here because I want to walk here. You only walk in here because you got your dog, so I'm more important than you. And this is the message how I picked out what she said. And initially, I was like annoyed with her. I mean, it was a brief conversation. She just says, "Oh, well, some people walk in the park because they want to be here. Whether I have my dogs or no dog, I'm in the park and I'm walking my dog, and I'm enjoying my walk." See, hurting people like to hurt other people. And I doubt and this is a grown woman. And I noticed some people walk around in life wanting to wound or hurt other people. I didn't expect this from this person. Again, I'm just acquainted to her in the sense that, like, we both walk in the park, and she used to walk with another person, and we go in an opposite direction. And I just, sometimes you see the same face, and you just say, "Hey, hello, how are you?" And that's it. But this is the first time this person is asking a question whether I'm there for my dogs or there for myself. What difference does it make? What difference does it make to you? Other than that you're trying to make a distinction at my expense because I'm walking with someone, my little dogs, that I love. And I want all of us to get the benefits of getting fresh air, sunshine, etc., etc. What difference does it make? So hurting people like to hurt other people. And so it'll be very interesting if I bump into her again. Um, I don't know whether to just keep on walking and not address her. I don't know. What do you think how I should address her? This one. This is she could be in her 50s, 60s. This woman. She's from another country. And and I notice, certain people that I've met from particular regions in the world have the same tendency to like they don't want to see you happy, but they'll do something and get in your business and try to interject something to make you feel uncomfortable with yourself. I notice that. See, there's a lot of people out in the world that don't want you to be joyful. They don't want you to be happy. And they'll walk around and say, oh, I see that person over there. Well, I'm going to try to assert myself over them, even though the person's not bothering them. They're in their own world, enjoying their own company or the company of their little doggies. And they're going to try to project that they are better than you, whether because they allege money, or maybe they have a particular outfit on, or, uh, or even walking in the park by themselves versus with other people. Hurting people like to hurt other people. So I'm saying today, people, why live like that? Why walk around in life? I'm going to say it. I know, maybe some people may not, because I know that somebody like that is listening. My background is the Caribbean. I'm born and raised here in the United States, but my grandparents came from the Caribbean. And briefly in my life, my adult life, I had the opportunity to live in the Caribbean. And in New York City, you have a lot of people from the Caribbean that live here. Many, many people. And I'm noticing a pattern. And I'm not going to mention what country that she's from. I'm not going to do that. But I'm just noticing a pattern. See, the Caribbean and throughout the Americas, the history of these places, your status, the trauma that happened in the Caribbean, Central and South America, was a very intense one. And people wanted to distinguish themselves from other people to make themselves feel better because that type of society, colonial periods of those days was very painful. And you were only somebody if you had land, or if you were a man, or if you were a particular race slash color. And if you were outside of that, you wanted to try to assert yourself in some way. Other forms how we try to cope with our pain was physical abuse. Physical abuse, a lot of violence happens in uh, these tropical areas, whether it's Caribbean or Central or South America, or even in America. Hurting people like to hurt other people often. And so they want to validate themselves. And now, like in the Caribbean, I noticed they will word things, and they word things to put doubt in your head. Like, why would you ask someone like they might present it in a question form, like why something this, and you wonder, well, what is their business about? What they're doing is taking a pin and it's poking you with it, trying to assert themselves by hurting others. This is a defense mechanism. I didn't know I was going to talk about this, people, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of meeting these low energy frequency people who want to rob your joy. These are the same type of people that might say, "Oh, I got a boyfriend or a husband, or I got a wife or a girlfriend, and you don't." Well, life has a way of removing those things from you. Some people call it karma. See, you can only go so far with something, and it shows a lack of maturity and growth, personal growth. That's also what I saw in that person. They lacked, I didn't know they were like that. I don't really know them. I just know of her, you're walking and, uh, uh, when you see the familiar face, you just say, "Hey, how you doing?" But now they don't have that other person walking with them. And I think they feel bad. And the person never called them, but I mean, I thought they were buddies. But like she had mentioned once, "Hey, have you seen that person that I walk with? Have you?" I said, "Well, I might have saw them like a week ago or something." So I can only speculate, but the person, the relationship wasn't as close as maybe she thought it would be, because they seemed like bosom buddies, and there would be deep conversation. And I remember sometimes when I would see them when they used to walk together and say hello, they wouldn't say hello back. So I thought that was something. And it's like a cattiness that could happen within individuals. And it shows how selfish that some individuals could be, that when they receive a blessing, let's say a blessing of having a friend walk with them in the park. And so I'm with myself, with my dogs. And so they don't need, sorry, the time on my thing is, my battery's getting lower. But either way, that sometimes people uh, want to rub it in. So I'm saying, people, people from the Caribbean, you know who I'm talking to. Individuals who are acting this way, or even in Europe, they could act this way also, or Central South America, or North America, where we live, where I'm living right now. People who are hurting, people who want to poke into somebody's life because they feel inadequate about their own life, and they want to hurt other people. Some are subtle in their approach, and others are outright murderous. And that leads into what happened in Tennessee today, Memphis, Tennessee, that this person had done the unthinkable. They used to go to that school as a child. Now they're 28 years old, and they broke into the school while it was in session and took the life of three little children, ages 9, and three adults, ages 61 and 60. But it's metaphysical too. All the numbers are six, if you notice. Well, 9 is a reverse 6, but in essence, it's six, and six is, according to some belief systems, the Book of Revelation about the mark of the beast being 666, where you have different hints of sixes out there, but they're negative. And this event that happened in Tennessee today, Memphis, Tennessee, was one of those things. Uh, they allegedly said it was a woman, but upon investigation, it was not a woman. It was a man who is a transgender. And this transgender movement, I perceive through this event, it's going to be a focus now. See, first they just said, "Oh, a woman with a machine gun," and oops, I wasn't supposed to say those words. I'm not supposed to say the, um, well, people, alleged woman with these high-powered devices to break into a Christian school, an elementary Christian school with a church facility at the school. And this person breaking in by force and then doing the unthinkable to 6 human beings. Hurting people hurt themselves and others. This person is a man, a biological male, who at some point transgendered to do the unthinkable. A confused, hurting mind is being pushed today, and that they're accepting certain lifestyles and confusing the general population that certain behaviors, certain thinking patterns are normal. And that we're fooling ourselves. And you have the medical field that is catering to this type of mental illness. And a lot of people that are in the mental health field are people with those problems. And they have the politics and the money and the, what do you call it? I forget that word. Um, Lobbying. They're able to lobby now to make the abnormal be acceptable. And it's going to be your destruction. But as I mentioned earlier in this live stream, I have to hurry up quickly to my battery's low, that hurting people hurt other people oftentimes. And you have you have options. You have to deal with your pain. Yeah, we have traumas. A lot of these people have traumas in their lives, and they become confused. And this conflict and this trauma is attached itself in the body, different parts of the body. And this man that I listened to the video by the name of Cornelius Christopher, who has a book called 1-0, how he transformed himself through this event, this Kundalini experience, and about human consciousness, that you are not your mind. And something your mind, you think you're your mind, and you think you are your traumas that happened, because that individual, Cornelius Christopher, had been traumatized as a child sexually, and his mother also was traumatized. And he lived his life in depression and suicidal thoughts. So he talks about liberation, how he got liberated from this mental confusion, this monkey chatter, as he calls it, of the mind. And that we are above the mind, we are spirit, and the spirit of truth, that the light of the Creator is in us, that this light is a pure consciousness of love. That's what I meant to say. I said truth, but I meant to say love. That what really make us up is the spirit of love. And that this love had transformed him once he understood what reality really was. He was able to become transformed, and it was a painful process. Him, this Kundalini experience, like he said it was like a fire that burnt. That it was extremely painful, physically painful to him, um, but it transformed him. So maybe these people that are getting into certain lifestyles, whether it's drug abuse, or the you think you're a particular gender that you're not. Sometimes this monkey chatter is telling you, "Hey, you're really a girl, not a boy, or you're a boy, not really a girl." This monkey chatter, and you believe everything you hear in your head as being you. People are being deceived. You are love. He's saying you are love, and that you're not your past and you're not your future. You're in the now, and this guy lives in the now, and he's no longer depressed, and he was also able to heal his body, allegedly heal his body of cancers. He talked about energy, and that you could transform the energy of your body. Your body could naturally heal. Like, let's say you accidentally cut your finger or opening up something. It is your body that heals. Those doctors don't heal you. You yourself heal you. And he said, the light in you is the healer. And I said, wow. So I said, wow, this person, okay, that person in Tennessee, um, they're no longer alive. I'm not sure whether they took their own life or the police took that person out. But I'm just saying, hey, these days people are being confused about who they are to such an extent that they are imploding on themselves. The things that happen in New York City, where I live, people are imploding on themselves. And we have to heal ourselves. We have to heal our minds, body, soul, and spirit. So I'm just thinking, hey, we do have an option about ourselves to go within. I know I've heard that crap before, go within. But I want to uh, look into this man's book. He has a book. And I'm interested in reading his book and finding out about how to deliver yourself from the traumas and the negative programming that we've received as children and are still receiving from television and some YouTube videos or movies that are trying to program us to be confused about who we really are. That is why I'm giving this live stream, to become aware that there's other options. And I know I don't want to live in a monkey, what do you call it, a monkey mind, the chatterbox, self-defeating thoughts. It is about liberation. Isn't life about liberation? Life is not about comparing yourself with other people and wishing you were other people. Life is not about when you see someone walking in the street with their dog who is happy, say, oh, well, at least I go to the park by myself. I don't need a dog to walk in the park, as if they're patting themselves on the back. Life is not about cheap shots. Life is about enjoying your own company, about your own health. It's about personal liberation. It's not about having material goods. Life is about enjoying you, walking in liberty, and walking in strength and power. That's what I want for myself and others. So, with that in mind, uh, yes, let us liberate ourselves through awareness, through consciousness, by any means necessary. By any means necessary. Our answer is not in a Messiah type person. Be your own Messiah. Be your own Messiah and transform your life. I want to transform my life. So, with that said, I thank you for listening. Oh, sorry, my phone, it's on 5% energy. Yeah. So, with that being said, thank you for listening. Again, I'm going to research more about that individual. The guy's name is Cornelius Christopher, and has a book on Amazon called 1-0. and he shares his experience of the abuse that happened to him as a child, and how he got transformed by this awakening. And we need to awake people, because there's something out there that's trying to destroy what you do have, and try to destroy your awareness of the light and love that is in you. So tap into that love and make it grow. Thank you again for listening. Peace, love, and joy to you all. You can write down your comments below, or share your story below. Okay? Take care and enjoy your evening. Bye bye.